What is up, podheads? Back with another episode of the Podioslave podcast. My name is Tony, joined as always by Anthony.
How you doing, man? You doing good?
I'm good. Feeling good. Feeling great. Feeling great. How are you?
Do you think anyone knows what I'm talking about when I say that? Because I've said it recently a few times.
You've said it through the life of the pod a bunch of times off and on. Yeah.
Do you think people know?
I'm not even sure I fucking know.
It's Outcast.
Oh,
Feeling
okay.
good, feeling great, feeling great, feeling good. How are you? I think it's from Speakerbox Below.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Now that you say it, it rings a bell deep in the recesses of the nerd mind.
Well, what was the? I did something from Jay-Z's "Change the Game." Oh, yeah. Still here, never left.
Yeah, Beanie Siegel.
Yeah, Beanie Siegel.
Beanie Siegel in the house. Yeah.
Everyone that's listening is like, I thought I came for Kerosene Heights. Who are these fuckers? But no, we love all kinds of music. But
yeah, we're nerds. We like music, and any week could be anybody. You never know. And this week we had Chance Smith of the band Kerosene Heights, and really cool conversation. A lot of fun talking to Chance, and it was a band that we both knew of going into it. We both liked, but I don't think we had talked about liking them until maybe a couple of weeks ago, and we were like, we should reach out. Like, they got a new record coming. Maybe somebody would be willing to talk with us, and Chance is like, let's do it. Their tour got cut short a couple weeks ago, so he had a little bit more free time than he probably thought he was going to, so he jumped on with us and then wasted an hour with us. So it was a blast.
It's funny. Like, we've talked about it on this pod where the way you find out about bands, it's generally through like the web and word of mouth. I'm trying to think, like, back in the day, it was, I saw an opener, like it was that. It was pre-internet. Like back when we got into music together, it was pre-internet. It was an opener. It was your buddies, brothers.
Yep, absolutely.
That whole thing. Now it's Spotify playlists. Like you reached out and you're like, dude, these new Kerosene Heights songs rip. And I'm like, well, I remember Catherine. I remember that song ripping.
Mm-hmm.
And then we dug in and we listened to the new album, right? Blame It on the Weather comes out. If you're listening to this when we drop the episode, it comes out this week. It comes out August 15th. SideOneDummy. We get into that whole story. I love asking that question. How does the label take notice? Is it outreach from you? Did they organically find out? I mean, because every band's got a different story, right?
Yep. And I love getting episodes like this and people like Chance on to kind of give their story. And we say it to them up front, like, you don't have a wiki. So, like, let's be it for the night. Like, tell us the story of how this all kind of came to be. Like, and it's a cool story. And they've had the arrow pointing up for a while. I mean, they've been a band for 3+ years, but in music longer. But they've had the arrow pointing up like from the jump, and it's cool to get in now, as their arrow is going up, because that band is awesome. And if you don't know them, go check them out. There's stuff out there right now that you can listen to on the new record, old stuff, and then the new record drops Friday, like Anthony said. So you've got more coming on Friday, and it's a good album. Like, I'm a huge fan, and I think you are too. And we've listened to it a ton, and I'm excited for other people to hear it because it's going to be up there for album of the year.
Agree. Yeah. And I love the confidence. It's only halfway through the year, but it'll be tough. It'll be tough to top it. I mean, we've listened to a lot of albums, and I think if you're listening to this on the Monday, they're announcing a tour tomorrow. So yeah, keep an eye on their
big announcement.
Kerosene Heights at Kerosene Heights. I'm sure SideOneDummy is going to post it. We'll probably repost it, all that stuff. But and I tell Chance this, I love when we talk to bands in this kind of this in-between stage where the album's done, the world hasn't heard it, and most bands are excited. He's definitely excited, and I'm excited for them.
Same, yeah. And it's cool to be in this position for us. Like, I'm so happy that we get to do this every week, and I've said that a million times over the course of 5.5 years, but 23-year-old me would be like, you get to do that? That's fucking awesome. So it's a blessing. It's amazing. And people like Chance are the reason we keep doing this week after week. So let's get into it. Conversation with Chance Smith, vocalist, rhythm guitar of the band Kerosene Heights right now.
All right, we're here with Chance from Kerosene Heights. Chance, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. Hello.
So Asheville based, right?
We are. None of us are originally from here, but that is where the band started and is based for the most part.
I've been a couple times. Love that city.
Nice.
Yeah, pre-hurricane stuff, but I was there in summer 21 and like fall of 23. and I have
Cool.
friends that live there. It was a blast. I had an absolute blast hanging out there both times. I talked my wife into going. Then we told our friends about it. They moved there. Like, cool
Yeah.
place. Feels like a good place to like be an artist. Like, there's a lot of people that are into music and into arts and all that stuff in Nashville. So it feels like a good place to, you know, cut your teeth as a band.
Totally. It is it's a really cool place. I moved here in 2020. Everybody else kind of moved around the same time. I actually moved the day that the lockdown started, which was weird. But it's a cool place to live. There's not much in terms of like a really active music scene. There's a few bands. It's a pretty small town and not a lot of young people to like drive a scene the way that you see it in like bigger cities. You know, it's kind of expensive to live here and just like, you know, I don't know. But I do love living here. I have no plans of moving. There's just not, if I had to pick a thing, I would say like a bigger, more diverse music scene would be cool.
Yeah, we had a buddy that lives there, and he's more into the jam band stuff. Like bands
Plenty
like,
of that.
Yeah. I'm like, he's always posting stuff, and I'm like,
yeah,
that's cool, but I don't know, you know.
Yeah, it's not my thing, but it is cool, and there's tons of it if you love it. But we're also like close to a lot of stuff. Like every tour hits Charlotte, like Atlanta, like those are all 2-3 hour drives if I really need to see something.
Nice. That's not too bad. And you're only like what, 5 from Charleston too? Like it's not.
Yeah.
You're near stuff. You can get to things if you need to.
Yeah, totally.
We're from Maine. We're Portland, Maine based. And
cool.
Yeah, and I just loved it because it felt a lot like Portland in the mountains. Like it had a good, you know, it's got good food. It had places to go check out shows. This was the vibe was very similar. So I felt right at home.
I want to say I've heard that before. About Portland, Maine.
Have you been up to Maine?
In my life, once as a child, I have like a vague memory. My grandmother lived in Cape Cod, and so I spent a lot of time. She lived in Boston for a while and then retired to Cape Cod for a little bit. And so I spent a lot of time up there, and we ended up in Maine at some point. And I just remember this, we went to this like crazy lobster shack, but not like a restaurant, like a big shed in someone's backyard that was full of live lobsters. That's what sticks out to me. Yeah.
It's like gold up here, yeah, especially this time of year.
Yeah.
Well, you said like 2 or 3 hours from like Atlanta and stuff like that. That's what we're used to. Like shows either come to Boston or they come like 3 hours north up to like Bangor, Bucksport or something, you know? So we're so used to that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't do that move super often unless it's like a band that I love that I've never seen. I saw like Joyce Manor for the first time in Atlanta. I've driven to Charlotte for a few shows. It's pretty rare, but there's some stuff that I'm like, I gotta go see. We spend so much time on the road. I'm like, I don't feel a deficit in shows that I attend in a year.
Right. That's like, I did my time. I don't need to go to that.
Yeah.
Well, you could also be like, I'm used to driving 2-3 hours to get to somewhere, so I'm fine with driving 3 hours to get to a show. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, James, we're excited for this combo because you're one of the few bands we've had on where there's no wiki. This is great. Like there's no wiki. There's not a ton out there. So we can like
someone start it.
It's not gonna be like a repeat for you. I mean, I think you've been on a few podcasts and interviews and stuff like that, but we love that where it's kind of net new, you know?
Yeah. That's exciting for me that most of the people you have on here have wikis.
It's been exciting for us too. Yeah. We were shocked when people with wikis started saying yes. But yeah, we also like doing these because it's always fun to get in with a band like yours that we think the arrow's pointing straight up. Not that we matter, but we think it. Like, we love the music.
Yeah.
We're excited about what you guys have coming, and we want more people to hear it. So if we can have, you know, an hour-long conversation with you to get the backstory on a lot of it, like, that's the stuff that we love. So
totally love that.
So when does it start? 2022? For you guys?
I would say that's right. Like we probably started playing music together to some capacity in like 2021, and it started with moved to Asheville for like a year and met who is now my wife, and it just so happened that her best friend just started dating Justin, who became the guitarist of our band, but just through us like hanging out with our new partners or whatever, we met and found our like common interests in specifically like emo music and like punk and screamo, and just kind of across the board we had a really overlapping music taste and just kind of threw it out like, hey, if we ever find someone to play drums, like let's, play some music together. I was recording stuff on my phone at the time, like in the GarageBand phone app that I shared with him. And it was like, I think close enough to something that he could be into to where he's like, yeah, let's do this, And then our now bassist Elle joined as the drummer originally. She had played drums like a little bit in high school, but just kind of picked it up to join the band. And then we had a couple bassists. Right before we recorded our first record, Elle switched to bass because that's their main instrument. And the drummer we had was mainly a drummer, just filling in on bass because he wanted to tour and be in a band, So then shortly after our first record, we met Benji, and Benji joined, and that is like final thing. That is like what we have been since the Leaving EP. Benji's on the new record. The split with Swiss Army Wife, that's like been the unit for the biggest chunk of the band existing at this point.
Were you doing stuff? You said you were recording stuff kind of on your phone beforehand, but were you in other bands? Like, how did you get the itch to perform and create?
So I have always wanted to do music. My dad was really into music. He was like a hardcore kid in the 90s, and put me on to just like punk rock, like through the ages, starting from like the Clash and the Sex Pistols into like the Descendants, and then like Gorilla Biscuits, Black Flag, like just kind of walked me through the
That's amazing, by the way. That's
a bit. Yeah.
Like I got Def Leppard, you got Descendants.
I got Tom Petty. Yeah, like I'm not mad about it, but yeah.
Yeah. Well, there's a thing about that where like I don't know any dad, like people reference dad type music in life, and I'm just like,
you don't know dad rock, you know dad punk rock.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I originally just like thought the vocalist thing was so cool, like from the early hardcore bands and like punk bands, and that's what I wanted to do. I kind of like cut my teeth on DIY in Nashville, Tennessee. That's where I grew up and like went to high school. I had my best friend at the time had an older brother that was cool. Like I'm an only child, but I did the younger brother thing through him, and he played in a hardcore band. And like the first DIY shows that I ever, like my dad had taken me to shows as a kid, but the first like DIY shows that were like something that I did on my own were like his brother's band's shows. And like the very first one was this like power violence band called Capitalist Casualties. They were touring through Nashville, and he opened up for them. And that was like, I think that was the first time I had seen like such like punk, like such a heavy thing in real life, not just like videos and stuff.
Totally.
And it like scared me and excited me. And I was just like, this is it for sure. Like up to that point, I had just kind of like been dipping my toe into going to shows and stuff. And that was like, okay, I got to do this. So like throughout high school and a little bit after, I did vocals in like hardcore adjacent projects. I was really into like crusty, like heavy power violence and just like kind of the extreme sides of that genre. And yeah, that's all the music I really did as a kid. And then I had a weird phase from like 18 to 24 with drugs where I kind of just dropped music and was focused on that for a while. And then I went to treatment and got sober. And that's when I ended up moving to Asheville, just like a little change of pace. And I was like, I want to, pick up music again. And, but I didn't know anybody. So I like learned guitar there. I was like living at a sober living during lockdown. And so I just like played guitar like it was my job for like a year, just all day, every day, like just figuring it out.
Music, I feel like music was kind of destined to be your thing, right? Between your dad and then your now wife. When you meet your like wife's friend's partner, they could suck, but they end up being your future bandmate, Like
and like best friend.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah. That doesn't happen all the time.
No,
Even still. Yeah, like I feel like everything just kind of aligned, and like, it was really cool to Justin had played in bands. He's from Florida, So he kind of like grew up in the Florida emo scene, like the, like Dikembe and You Blew It and like all of those bands that were like a big part of the like fourth wave thing, like he knew and was friends with and like just was in that scene and like saw a lot of those bands. So he definitely like, I liked that music, but he kind of opened the door to me as far as like being a part of it and playing it. Because like when we met, I was like, power chords are nothing. Like I don't, I was really new to guitar. And so, he showed me the ropes a little bit, and he also had like really wanted to, do music as seriously as you can for a while. And so when we started the band, we just kind of hit the ground running. Like we all kind of had a list of goals that we never got to do in our like younger projects. And we were like, I'd been on one tour before when I was 18, and so had Justin. Justin had done a couple little things, but we were like, we want to tour, we want to put out a record, like vinyl, like, and just stuff like that. We wanted to play fest. Those were like, these are the things that we want out of this band. So we kind of just like lasered into whatever it took to do that pretty immediately.
That's amazing because you're getting all those things now. Like you're able to play shows, you're able to play Warped Tour, you're able to play Fest this fall. Like it's crazy, man.
Yeah. This will be our fourth Fest.
Wow. Yeah. And I mean, that's saying something because you started in 2020, 2021 playing music in Asheville, and now you're playing Fest for the fourth time. That's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's awesome. We definitely sent that goal to hell for sure.
Nice.
So when you guys are, you're doing the thing on GarageBand on your phone and you guys start jamming, is it pretty like clear the sound? Because it sounds like you might have been on the heavy side. Like when you were talking, I was like, he's probably into like tragedy, like stuff like that. Yeah, like that's where my head went.
Yeah, totally.
And then maybe your bandmates are from Florida, like in that maybe You Blew It scene. So that's a huge difference, right?
Totally. And I think we both come at the band from our respective angles as like the main like songwriters in terms of, melody and whatever. But yeah, it was a lot more of when we started, it was a lot more of a punk band with Justin throwing like noodly riffs on top of like my punk songs. That's like how I think of a lot of the early stuff. And that was cool. And like, I think that like our differences in that way, like in influence, reflect like our sound really well. And that's something that I like hope to hold on to. But I was never trying to make this like a hardcore band. I'd kind of like in my 20s, I had like softened up a little bit, like maybe around 15 or so, I found Screamo and I was really into like Seisha and Orchid and that whole scene. And I think that kind of like inevitably took me down the path of where I'm at now because they incorporated like clean guitars and noodly riffs and like talky moments and clean vocals.
And not facing the crowd, facing the drums.
Right. Yeah. God, that's so sick. I love that. I want a Screamo show to feel like as weird and off-putting as possible. Like when that shit is what's happening, I am excited.
I love it.
Nice. So you start, obviously you move to Asheville, you're playing guitar, you're learning to play guitar essentially, right? Like you're getting into it. You have thoughts of maybe starting a band, meet significant others, friends, start the band. You've had, it's only been a couple of years, but do you remember the first show? Do you remember? Because that's probably like as lockdown's kind of easing up.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
It was cool. So our first show was like in a basement here with a few local bands. We played that venue maybe 2 or 3 times. So like the lineup kind of gets mixed up for me. But it was awesome. Like, just a lot of friends. Like I think we had a song out, maybe the EP was out. But just like a lot of friends being supported, like this little basement like packed out. And it was really fun. It like felt like my dad flew down from New York to see it.
That's
to see
awesome.
us play this basement. Yeah. And yeah, it was just great. It felt really good. I think we played one local show and then we drove down to Raleigh for one show one time. And then we went on our first tour. So like our first tour would have been like our third show. It was, and we probably rushed it and probably played a bunch of like not so great, shows. I feel like I feel like only recently do I feel like a pretty like tight band. Like I think we've always been like fun, you know, but it's been cool to like feel more locked in than we have. But it was great. I mean, I wouldn't change it. It is cool to like ride this like crazy fast trajectory and just like work with people, not, I don't want to say work, but like spend my time with people who are like motivated to like do cool shit, because that's like our goal only, really.
So those early gigs, I mean, there was, at least you're surrounded by friends, so like, there's some foundation and support there. Was it unanimous of like, guys, like we kind of want to do this, like that was fun?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Because I feel like you can tell. I feel like if you had a first gig and then you were like, I don't want to do this, like it wouldn't have lasted,
Yeah, I mean, I would say there was like, maybe like 40 people crammed in this basement. There was a mosh pit. Like it was cool. It was like really heartening. I don't know if that's the right word, but it was awesome. And we all kind of knew that like we were, gonna give this our best shot. Like I feel like all of us have loved music for so long and kind of squandered our, early 20s or whatever, that like prime time to like do that shit on just different stuff, like whether it was a career or, drugs for me or whatever. And so like we all just were like, whoa, I can't believe we're actually like maybe gonna do this,
Well, that's the fast trajectory is crazy. First of all, like the being able to go from 2022, 40 people in a basement to your third show is on your first tour it just doesn't happen very often. So you must have been kind of shitting your pants a little bit, right? Like it's like, okay, we're out here in front of people every night. Now we gotta kind of do this. Like you all wanted to, which I can tell just from talking to you. But at that first one on that first tour is probably like, holy shit, it's real. Like let's make this happen.
For sure. Like I kind of feel like when we played our first show, the like hardcore front man in me just like immediately revealed himself again, and I was like, this is cool, like I'm comfy, like this, I like this a lot, and I like, it's something that I'd kind of forgotten that I love to do, and so I knew I was capable. I felt good. But yeah, there's been many times like just in this whole thing where it's like every first tour, like first long tour, first month-long tour, like all of those things have their own set of anxieties and like nerves that go with them for different reasons. I mean, we did so much of the like asking people on the mic for a place to sleep and like, college dorm floors at like 28 years old and shit like that. Just like,
yeah.
We did all the stuff.
Had you guys put out like, so the first gig, had you recorded music at that point?
We recorded music ourselves, and I cannot remember if it was just, we recorded a 4-song EP to start, and I can't remember if just we did a single for it for some reason, and I can't remember if just that song was out. But by the time we went on our first tour, all we had out was we had our first EP out, and then like a couple days before we left, we released the first recording of our song Catherine. It's like a really rough, it's still up, but it's like a really rough like basement recording of the song that would later be on the album. And so we were writing off that, just like the EP and the single. And we went on tour with a band called Farseek, who's great. I credit Cameron a lot for kind of like showing us the ropes of like the modern world of, DIY touring and, just being in a DIY band in general. I would say for the first like 2 or so years of being in a band, we would reach out to that guy anytime anything came up, and just he did something cool and like took a, tiny like brand new band out on the road with him, and like he was DIY touring too. So it's like, nothing's promised in that scenario. Like you never know how those are going to go. And that's really sick to me. And that first tour was cool. I mean, we definitely played like a couple shows that were like, but there were a lot of good shows that I still remember this day, and think of very fondly.
it's cool to have like a big brother band like that too, right? Like somebody who took the chance on you to take you out, who you can call on with a question like, "Hey, we're still pretty new at this. Like, what do we do in this situation? What do we do in this situation?" That's pretty awesome.
Totally. It was huge for sure. Cause I mean, he's done it for a long time. We toured with him again. The flyer with the flowers on it, you definitely can't read it from here, but we toured with them, I think 2 Mays in a row. Both were awesome.
So the Catherine demo comes out. What was the first EP?
The first EP is called No More Bad Dreams.
No More Bad Dreams. Okay.
It's listed as an album now because No Sleep like re-released it.
Oh, it's one of those like semantics things. Has it,
Yeah.
Can it fit on a side too? So like, when that drops, can you feel there's a following building? So I'm trying to think like you're in the streaming era, there's all these metrics and stuff. Like, do you feel a build?
I wouldn't say immediately, but like our bar was like really low, like if our friends posted about it, we were like, what? Sick. And here's a funny thing. So Brooklyn Vegan has written up like everything we've ever done, like from the first single. And so
that's hard to get in with them. Well done.
We've been trying.
This is a good one. This is a good one. So they never email me back or anything. Like I would email them and they would just never say anything. And, in the beginning, it was just like, here's 15 new songs that came out today. And we were one of them. And that was just like, what, but when Southeast of Somewhere, our first record came out, they did like a proper write-up of it. And when we first started the band, we had this like catchphrase, like just joke that we would say all the time. I think it was like our Instagram bio for a while, but just the phrase literally better than Sugar Ray. and so when I was sending out, I was doing all of our PR when we first started doing stuff. So when I was sending out emails to these blogs, the subject line would just be all caps, literally better than Sugar Ray.
We're jacking that, Chance. We're doing that. We're jacking that shit.
Which goes against everything I've learned about PR since then. But it's still up. The write-up for our first record on Brooklyn Vegan just starts with like, a year ago, I got an email where the subject line was literally better than Sugar Ray.
That's amazing.
And I had to open it.
So it worked. It did work.
Yeah, it did work. So there are always things like that. And, like it's relatively easy to like get the attention of or get in touch with bands you really look up to in the DIY scene, Keith from Empire, he runs Count Your Lucky Stars and put out, that label put out like so many bands that are important to us as a band. These people are super reachable, but every time one of them was like, oh, your band's cool. Or like the first time like Dikembe recognized us or whatever, I was just like, that all felt huge for me, especially at the time.
Well, and for anybody out there listening, if you're making something, doing something in 2025 or 2022 or whatever, it's not easy to get on people's radar. So you got to try anything. And literally better than Sugar Ray, you got to try anything. If it works for one person and it gets your name out there a little bit, why the hell not?
Totally.
So that's exciting. Like you can feel momentum build. And I don't know, like I know as a podcast, Tony and I are not musicians, never been in a band, but as a podcast, you have these like super like low goals and then you hit one of them and then you reassess. So it's always this level up. You're never satisfied ever in your life. Are you guys doing that too? Like, hey, we just put out a record.
Yes.
Like we just did a tour, we pressed vinyl. Yeah. Are you reassessing?
Of course. Yeah, always. And like, I don't know, I want to backtrack a hair and just say like, there was like, we were always kind of feeling, some kind of thing going on. Like even on our first tour, Brian from Camp Trash came to that show and tweeted about us, and then No Sleep followed us, and then that led to No Sleep. It was just like this snowball of like minor little things that just like all connected. But yes, the goalpost always changes. Like one of our first goals was like going to a studio to record a record, and like on the first one, our budget was like next to nothing because we were just paying for it. And So Drop of Sun, a studio here, they do like Wednesday and MJ Linderman and Hotline TNT and like a bunch of like Hotline TNT is not in the same world as those other bands, but you know, just like that, the indie kind of universe. Alex over there was nice enough to like work with this small budget that we had, and we recorded the record in 3 days.
Wow.
But like just going to a studio and being able to do it like for real to us was like, that's one of those goals. Like we did that. But then of course you do that and you're like, I want more than 3 days. Like I want to work with a producer. I want to stretch my legs a little bit and think about stuff and like sing stuff well. So yeah, you just kind of learn as you go, like, sweet, I accomplished that. Like, could I do that better? Or what is that? What do I now know that makes me want to do, you know, this thing? And so like moving forward, that was the goal. Like we were like, we want to work with somebody who's going to like add something to the record and be like really invested. And Alex was stoked on our record at Drop of Sun. It's just like what we could afford, what he could give us with like his like big beautiful space was like just limited, you know. And so yeah, that was like the thing for LP2 is like we really want someone that's gonna like push us a little bit and have input on the songs, someone who's like familiar with like what we're going for and just aware of the genre that we exist in, because I think there's like tiny minute details of like guitar tone or like recording styles that without that it feels like something different. And for our first record, I think that's cool. I think our first record stood out in a way in the DIY emo world because it didn't sound like a lot of the stuff that was coming out, you know, like it was very natural, mics in front of amps, like no drum samples, just it was big. And so I think in that regard, it was cool. You know, I think it gave us like a very specific sound for our first big release.
And you were, you know, you're able to do that on, you know, short time, probably a lot of pre-production, writing stuff out, making sure that it's ready to go when you go in there because you don't have a lot of time. With the new record, which is out, I think if we're dropping this the Monday before, it's going to come out on August 15th, Blame It on the Weather on SideOneDummy. You were able to spend a little more time, right? Like you were able to have a producer, bounce things off of each other. Like it probably felt like a completely different experience.
It did. For one, another part of going into the second project was we wanted to be a lot more collaborative. So like the lineup that we have formed since Southeast of Somewhere has just felt so good. And it's felt good to like really dive into songs and workshop things and like work with each other. We just like have a good vibe together. And a lot of the early stuff was just kind of like me writing songs and everybody like adding their thing to it. But I was pretty predominantly doing the like structure and the rhythm guitar that kind of like carries the song for whatever it's worth. And so we did take a lot more time on this second record to like me and Justin sat down a lot more. Like we as a band spent a lot more time working through songs, changing parts, adding parts, taking stuff out just before we even got into the studio, which was really cool and special. Like I feel like everybody on this record, more so than the last, like everybody really brings something to the table that they can feel really good and special about. Cause like I want it to be a band. Like I don't think I'm the best guitar player ever. Like I think I'm pretty good at writing songs, but I want to surround myself with people who are more talented than me, ideally, and I have. And so I want to use them to their fullest, you know?
It's funny. As you're talking, I'm thinking to myself, most of my favorite bands, it's been a core for a long ass time. You know, you can tell when it's just like one legacy guy and he's got a bunch of hired guns. Like it's a different, especially live, it's a different experience.
Oh yeah.
And even on record, it's like they lost the essence of why you like them in the first place. So that's cool. Totally. You guys found it early. You know?
I think it's like really important, you know, for any band to like, if your lead guitarist isn't excited about what they're doing on a like record, then like that shit comes through.
Yeah, you can tell, right? Especially live. Like the live shows get, maybe you're not friendly. Like that sucks. You want to be out there and having a good time on stage together.
Right. And look, I don't want it to come across like I was, you know, like a warden or anything of the first record, but just like we also set deadlines for ourselves of getting stuff done. So there was a lot of like rushing involved with the first record, and that the way that I've written music since I started this is really fast. And so, you know, like we'll write 25 songs and narrow it down to 10 or 11 or whatever, because we can just kind of crank these ideas out super quick. But yeah, anyway, besides LP2 being a lot more collaborative, we did get to spend 10 days in New York at Two World Studios with Billy Menino. And it was a game changer for sure. Billy's done like a bunch of stuff that we've loved for a long time. And he had just been like an avid supporter of our band.
Awesome.
Since the first record came out. And that's kind of something that we have decided to roll with, like more than looking at people's accolades of like stuff they've done in the past. Like, who's like invested in this being as good as it can be? Like, ultimately, I feel like that matters more.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. It's a great idea, because you want it's cool to have the person with the big accolades, because it's like, oh, also produced by somebody with maybe some cachet, but it's also maybe they're it's a paycheck for them, and they're not as invested in what you're doing, and you want someone who's as invested in what you're doing as you are. I would want that for sure.
Exactly. And it just felt like Billy was a fan of the band first, you know, in terms of like the relationship that we had built, just kind of like naturally, he was going to support us regardless. So it just felt kind of like the obvious choice. We talked to a few people, and a few people who I like look up to and would have been stoked to do a record with, but like Billy was just kind of always there. And he did the split. He mixed the split for us that we did at Swiss Army Wife with Swiss Army Wife. And we really liked how those sounded. We kind of wanted to like, our goal was to put out like all the classic emo records that we love from the 2010s, the earlier 2010s, kind of have this feeling to them. It's pretty dry. It's like not effects driven. It's, you know, a lot of it is just like feels like a band, but we wanted to do something like that with that feel, but like modernized for just where music is without going too far into, you know, like I don't want or care for our music to be like radio ready or anything like that, you know. I always want to like have the punk essence, you know, because that's just the music I've always loved.
Radio's tough now anyways, right? Like it doesn't have the foothold that it did 20 years ago.
For sure, but I just mean like I don't need it to be too shiny or too polished or like overly like produced in terms of mixes. Like that stuff weirds me out, just because that's not how any of the music that I usually listen to sounds.
Us either, actually. We like some of that grit. We're down.
Yeah.
Well, it's funny you're talking about like I'm kind of reading between the lines, like this good chemistry and collaborative songwriting. The Leaving EP came out a year ago. Like
it did.
So did Blame It on the Weather come? Is that all net new from then, or do you have some tracks before, like Leaving?
Maybe like one or two were before.
Damn, you guys cranked this out. Holy shit!
Yeah. We write. I mean, I write a lot of music. Like I'm still just like at home writing music on my own, but then we kind of like, instead of just emailing each other shit and doing it that way, like we bring it all together. But I'm writing the bones to our songs like all the time. I wrote 4 songs like this weekend after a long break. So, you know, I mean, some of them are more finished than others or whatever, but like that's my main thing is writing songs. Like there's a lot of songwriters that I like a lot, and lyrics are important to me. And that's like why I want to be in a band. Like I've never cared to be the best guitar player. Like lately I want to keep up with Justin a little bit, you know, and just like play the type of stuff that I want to hear. But yeah, I've always been like lyrics first personally.
So we're pretty close to it dropping. We're talking to you a couple weeks before, but again, when this drops, it'll be in a couple days. So how do you feel right now I mean, you've got some songs out, but are you excited for everybody to hear all of it together as one piece?
I am. I really strive on this record. We all did, but I really wanted it to be a like sit and play through type of record, you know. While there's definitely some like pop punk leaning singles that are like, you know, just super catchy. And like, I don't know, a lot of the songs have hooks and stuff, but I wanted it to have an emotional arc where like our first record is a collection of songs for sure. And that's sick. Like, I don't have any hate towards that. A lot of my favorite records are just collections of songs. And this isn't any kind of like concept album or anything, but I did want it to have an emotional arc. Like I said, just like a feeling that kind of goes through the whole record, like something cohesive. I think the first half, it has like a, you know, poppier, more fun kind of feel to it. And the second half, it dives into some like more vulnerable, like sometimes heavy or darker territory. And that was intentional to have those sides that way. And the songs that like connect those two parts are intentional as well. So I'm very excited. I'm super stoked. This is like the most people that have ever cared about any music I've ever done kind of waiting on this record, which is like still small in scale, but it's really cool to me. And like,
that's super cool. Like, and I don't know how I'd handle that. I'd be like, holy shit, people give a fuck about what I have to say. Damn.
It's crazy. It is crazy. It's overwhelming sometimes. Like, we recorded the album in January and we finished right at the end of January, and we did like 5 or 6 shows after that tour with this band called Elephant Jake. They're amazing. But we played New York City on my 30th birthday, and it was a sold out show. And we just had like so many friends there, and we had just recorded the record, and it was like kind of felt like the beginning of the like, okay, like people on the internet are catching on that have never seen us and are like excited like about us, fun. You know?
Yeah, that's
yeah.
I love that you're excited because I think we've probably had 200 bands on this podcast. And what we've learned is like when an album comes out, it's not like the band just finished recording it. In some cases, they recorded it like 2 years ago, and they're waiting for vinyl, they're waiting for this, that. And a lot of times we can read between the lines. Some bands are over it, but they're over the album before it even comes out. The fact that this was in January, like some people that might seem like a long time, that's recent. That's quick.
It's really quick turnaround for like recording and putting out a record on a label. Like that's really fast. And I was like super grateful that SideOneDummy was down to like work with that timeline, because we just make up timelines in our head and for no reason. And then they were just like, let's do it. You know?
I love it.
Yeah.
So how'd SideOneDummy come into play? How'd that go down?
So the first label we signed to is No Sleep, infamously bad label. And so, but you know, back in the day, they put out a lot of cool shit that we liked a lot, you know, and he found us through that Camp Trash tweet. We signed to them. They put out the record. Deal went bad. That dude has disappeared now, but we like did the lawyer thing and got the rights to all our music back. So we own our first record and everything they did, which is really sick. But we knew that our next goal was to record with a producer, which is something that we could never afford realistically. I mean, if we, you know, toured our asses off and never took a dime from it, like maybe in a year, or, you know, it just like didn't feel feasible at all. So we knew we wanted to work with somebody. We had a better idea of like what we were looking for from a label and like what to watch out for in terms of labels after dealing with the whole No Sleep situation. And I was just talking to Justin one day about it, because we only had demos at that point, which we didn't know that, you know, a lot of labels don't operate that way. If they're going to sign you on, they want you to have the thing already. And I was just talking to Justin about it, and I was like, hey, I think somebody at Side One follows us on Instagram. Just like I randomly knew that.
Love it.
And we just cold messaged him. His name's Phil. He's a great guy. And it was like a long process, but he was very stoked on us. He was very stoked on the demos. And we just spent a lot of time like getting to know each other before any kind of like business shit happened, which, you know, at times felt like a little bit like we're trying to go record this fucking album, dude. Like, come on.
Right. Yeah.
But
we have that friggin' deadline in our heads. We got to get going.
Yeah. We have this made up deadline that we decided. But we spent a lot of time getting to know each other, which was really awesome because Chris at No Sleep, we had only ever emailed. Like I'd never talked to that guy on the phone or anything. So it was like really refreshing to like interact with a human who seemed interested in us as people and a band and just like being a friend, you know. We're also friends with Carpool. We played some shows with World Greatest Dad. We're friends with Cliff Diver, all bands on Side One that had nothing but amazing things to say. And I mean, Side One obviously falls into the category of like has put out some like very influential shit for us. And so finally, Phil came down to Fest last year and we were playing and we just like hung out all weekend. And it was like not long after that we like did the paperwork. We were already kind of booking time with Billy before any of that was worked out. Just like, got to make this happen at this time. But yeah, so shortly after Fest, which is in October, we like signed the paperwork, set the time up with Billy, and then we were recording the first Side One record in January.
And it was done in January. So 3 months, really, what, 3-4 months? That's crazy. That's fast. That's pretty fast.
Leaving was out at that time?
Leaving, we had started talking to Phil before Leaving was coming out, and we were just kind of buds at that point. Like we were having meetings every week just on some like hanging out, talking about the EP, talking about what we're up to, all that stuff. And I don't know exactly when Leaving came out, but it was in the summer of last year, maybe July.
So we reached out to you for this interview, for this conversation, and we asked if we could check the record. We always like to check the record. So we how many times have you listened to the record, Tony, would you say?
Ooh, 3, 4 now in a couple of days. Yeah,
a shitload.
So
I love it. Yeah. I love this
Nice.
record. I was texting Tony, I'm like, the year's only half over, but it's
up
like,
there.
It's a contender, and we listened to a shitload of music. It's so good. And you nailed it, Chance, with the first half. Like that is probably tracks, I'm looking at the track list now, probably 1 through 6 through Sunsetting through New Tattoo. I could see that on a side A. And then things like Forever start side B. It's like, I assume, just chatting with you, I'm like, this is probably intentional. You're an album sequence guy. You're a track sequence guy. But
big time.
Yeah,
big time.
Yeah. Because like to open with Sunsetting, here's the thing. I don't know if I want to spoil it for folks, but like it's slow and then it picks up and it's a great intro. And then the first few tracks, upbeat. And then, like you said, the second half, you got like Sync. Oh, that's yeah. I won't spoil that one. Go listen to that one in a few days. And then Blame It on the title track lands the album. It's awesome.
Yeah.
And then
thank you.
Jumps right back in with that kind of the end of the song going into the beginning of the record again, which we love when those little tricks happen. We love that stuff.
Yeah, me too. I love stuff like that. I'm excited I've never heard it actually do it, but when it comes out on Spotify, I'll finally hear it actually do the thing. But yeah, thank you so much. I'm really stoked on it. I think all of our band's like personal faves are on the second half of the record for the most part. You know, the singles are kind of like unanimous, like they kind of fall into a different category of song than everyone's personal favorite, you know, because a lot goes into which songs are like the drummer's favorite songs or the bassist's favorite song, you know. Like me, I'm going like lyrics if I'm picking my favorite song. So, you know, there were the singles we all felt unanimously like these are great, like some of the best songs we've ever done, but I think everybody kind of has their own favorites, and I would say most of them are on the back half of the record.
When you've left some stuff for people to be surprised by too, right? You put the singles out, there's some upbeat there, there's some heavy there in spots, but there's some more heavy coming. Like just wait till you hear this in the back half of the record, you're gonna be like, damn, like this is I love the way that this kind of unfolds and then kind of comes back around again to get you back into it again. So
totally. I definitely like ending on like a kind of a hopeful note, if you will, you know? I mean, I think the like basis of the band and my life and everybody's life is like everything's fucked all the time, but like it can be all right if you do like what you want to do with it.
This I'm just thinking of like if I was curating your set list, because you obviously asked me to curate your set list. If I was to curate your set list, you got to put Sync in there and Blame It on the Weather. Like the sing-alongs in there, and Sync's got that breakdown at the end. It's prime for the live show.
A lot of people have brought up Sync to me, and that's kind of like a surprising one for me, maybe. Like, I love that song, but I feel like it kind of dips into like maybe like a post-hardcore kind of realm that we don't do super often. Maybe I don't know if that's the word for it, but it's just kind of, it does like stand out to me as different. And like for people who have liked our band for a long time to like point that one out as much as it has been pointed out is just interesting. It's really interesting and cool.
Yeah, that's got to be like, obviously you wrote the song, so I'm sure you like them to an extent. You're putting them out to the world, right? But to have you have ones that you're probably like, well, this is gonna hit, and then you have one that maybe you didn't expect to hit, and that's got to be kind of the cool roll of the dice when you're releasing 10, 12 songs.
Totally. Yeah, it was. I really wanted to do a 10-track record for this one, but it obviously did not work out that way. We all just kind of had our own. It was going to be 11 again, and I got married the December before we went to go record, like a month before we went to go record. And I wrote New Tattoo in between getting married and going to record. And that was kind of just like, half the band wasn't even living in Nashville because of the hurricane stuff at the time. So we never played that song together before we went to record it. Like, Justin wrote a lot of his stuff in the studio. That was just like one of those last minute, like, you know, that song just kind of fell out of me and everybody was like, yeah, we got to play the song.
Deep cut to Love Spelled Backwards. I was like live tweeting the album to Tony this week. And my commentary for Love Spelled Backwards is, love the intro, just chants and guitar, then drums come in. I picture just a big sing along with the crowd. It's yeah, that one's prime for the live show too.
Yeah, I do. Like, I don't know, I feel like some people think of this as like not cool or whatever, but like I think about live shows a lot when I'm writing, and like, oh, this is gonna resonate, like people are gonna feel this and like sing along with it, because I love that. It's like my favorite part of shows, you know, and not just as like the person that wrote the songs in the band, but like when I go to shows, I love singing along to songs that I love, you know. And like, if you can give people something that they like feel kind of on a deeper level on top of that, that's kind of the goal.
Say one thing, if I was in a band, that's all I'd think about.
Me too.
It'd be gang vocals and breakdowns. Let's go. The whole thing. I wouldn't even need to sing. I wouldn't even need to sing.
Yeah.
No, we're right there with you. It's awesome to think about things that way. And we ask that question sometimes with bands, like, when you're writing, do you think, oh, this is going to go off live? Like, how can you not? Because you're going to go play the shows. You have to play the shows. So that's the only way. I mean, one of the better ways to make some money on it is to get out and play a little bit and sell some merch and sell some CDs that way, or vinyl that way. So you have to be thinking about putting on a decent show, right? You have to.
Totally. I mean, I feel like that's such a big part of our band, and also is that like, I think our live show is a big part of it. Like, back when we just had, you know, our first EP that I mixed badly out and stuff, like there are tons of people, like when we first started, they were like, oh, I heard the EP, it was cool, but like seeing y'all live really put it into like perspective, of put added context to what this is in a way that makes me like enjoy these songs even more now, you know. So I do think that the live aspect is like a big part of our band.
Cool. So you've got some shows. You still have a couple shows in August, right? You're playing DC and Atlanta?
Yes, we are.
Yep. And then you're playing Michigan in September?
Right.
And then you get the Orlando show, and then the night before Fest, and then Fest in October. Mm-hmm. So you've got some stuff coming up here at the end of the year.
What day does this come out again?
8/11, I think.
August 11th.
Yeah, August 11th.
August 11th.
Spill the beans, Chance. No.
We can cut it too.
Whatever. I will say that
if it's
I'll
not
tell
out,
you this.
You have our word. It will not reach the airwaves.
Mm-hmm.
No. It's fine. I think it'll be fine to say this by now, but especially if it's deep into the podcast.
Yeah.
But we're announcing our first full US tomorrow.
Nice.
Tomorrow being August 12th.
Nice.
Oh, nice. Sweet.
Yeah, for November and December.
Nice.
Damn. Awesome.
Well, if you're listening on the day this podcast episode drops, look out tomorrow at Kerosene Heights everywhere.
Yep. That's exciting.
Yeah. I don't Yeah, me too. We've never been to the West Coast before. We're playing a show in Canada. All things I'm very excited about. We're doing it with some really cool bands who I'm not going to say right now, but yeah, very sick.
That's exciting.
That's such an undertaking, because I don't know if I want to bring this up. You guys had to cancel recently, right, with Dikembe and Swiss Army Wife, and it's funny.
Yeah.
Like, I've been going to shows since I was 15, and if that happened as a 15-year-old fan, I'm like, all right, I'll see him next time. But as a 40-year-old adult, I'm like, the logistics of that, that's a nightmare. They took time off from work. It
was such a nightmare.
My heart goes out to you guys, honestly. Like, that's
super bummed. Yeah.
Whew,
yeah, it was like, you know, kind of one of those, like, in an instant. Like, we found out one person had it, and like during a long drive, and so like at the end of the drive, we all got COVID tests, and then just like within 30 seconds, Dikembe was even like, "Hey, we're flying them out. None of us have it. We've got to fill in, ready to go." And then like within 30 seconds of that, 5 more people were like, "We tested positive," and it was just like, "There's no way. There's no way to fix this." Like, I luckily did not get COVID. That's I guess like cool.
Yeah, but like the bummer of the whole thing, right? It's like you might as well got it.
Yeah.
Right.
So yeah, it sucked. And like, we love Swiss Army Wife. Like, we did the split with them. They feel like a, you know, sister band to us. I feel like we have so much in common with that band, and they're on the West Coast, and like we never played together, and we were getting to do all these shows. And like, Dikembe is a band who's supported us for a really long time, and shit just gets like, touring and shit just gets more and more complicated. Like, I want to make that same package happen again someday, but like, part of me, maybe it's just because I've been sitting at home bummed for a week, but I'm like, I don't know that.
Oh man,
you know, like,
I'm sorry to bring it down, man.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I've been going through this like all week or whatever. I'm on the other side of it, emotionally.
Fair. Yeah. I mean, you have every right to have been upset about it. That's a huge bummer, and you're out there playing for people, and you're excited about your new record, and to have that all just kind of stop in an instant is no fun.
Yeah, like, we had the new record, like we sold the record at those shows, which was like really cool to get to do. So yeah, I don't know. It was a bummer, but you know, you just move on and keep it going. A lot of stuff to be excited about. Yeah, both of those bands will be at Fest this year, so we'll hang again. And then we'll be out on the West Coast, so we'll definitely hang out there. So you just take what you can get. Like, those 4 shows we played and that trip to Six Flags were awesome. You know?
Yeah.
That's where you got it. It was the Six Flags.
Probably,
those pesky lines.
I hate roller coasters and amusement parks. I would love to blame it on Six Flags, but it was the day we were at Six Flags that everybody was like,
before that. Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah. I would love more than anything to blame Six Flags and be like, look, we could never go to Six Flags again.
Yeah, no more.
No, like, but I can't. I simply can't. I don't do roller coasters. I'm scared of that shit.
I'm right there with you, man. Yep.
I was drinking $20 margaritas trying to just like get through it.
The older I get, the more I don't like roller coasters. I was at basically a kid's amusement park this past weekend, and I brought my 5-year-old on. She was just tall enough to ride the ride, and she loved it more than I did. It was so bad.
I could see that. Yeah.
I was like clutching her the whole time. I had a headache after. That was like shook.
I hated them as a kid. Like, I would do ones that didn't go upside down as a kid, but I was like deathly terrified of going upside down for some reason. And then my wife likes them decently, like, not so much that we shouldn't be married or anything, but like, if an amusement park is happening, like, they'll hit some roller coasters. So I was like, all right, I'm an adult now. Like, I'm going to man up and like give this a shot. And then I just fucking hated it. Like, I wasn't even really scared. I was just like, this sucks. Like, I'm just getting like jostled around and like, it's uncomfortable.
Dizzy.
And I just
dizzy as fuck.
don't like it.
Yeah. You're disoriented. I was disoriented after.
Maybe I'm still a little scared, but like, I did it. You know, I proved to myself, like, no, this isn't something that's for me. So I'm at peace with it at this point.
Well, I mean, it's November, December, but I would say if you happened to play Portland, Maine, there's a a small amusement park in Saco that has small roller coasters that are fun.
Yeah.
And those are a little more fun. They're a little easier. You don't have to worry about feeling as sick after.
Cool. Yeah, and I wasn't alone. There were multiple members of Swiss Army Wife who hated roller coasters too. So we were just like the grumpy dudes drinking margaritas, you know. It was chill.
All right, well, exciting stuff, man. We've got the record in a couple of days. You've got an announcement tomorrow. That's exciting, man. I'm excited for all the stuff that Kerosene Heights has got coming at the second half of 2025.
Me too.
I mean, the record's just phenomenal. So go listen to it on Friday.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I love chatting with bands like yourself, like at this stage where it's like the arrow's pointing up, and anyone that's listening to this convo hasn't heard the album. Like, I think they're gonna love it.
I hope so. I mean, the reception to the singles has been awesome, like way beyond anything we've ever experienced before, and I'm like super grateful to that. Like the Twitter community is like absolutely nuts about all the new songs, and that's so awesome. I mean, like my whole goal as a band, other than like getting to experience some like cool shit like recording a record or like holding your own vinyl or whatever, has been to like write songs that connect with people, you know. And the fact that that's happening to any degree is like, it blows my mind all the time. So very stoked for people to hear the whole thing. We're all super proud of it and just like put a lot of work into it, you know.
I'd put ourselves in that camp, right? I mean, we knew of you guys. We'd listened. I think Catherine had come up on playlists in the past.
Yep.
But it was this recent wave of singles, and like there was no PR firm that pitched it to SideOneDummy, didn't reach out. It was Tony. It was like, these fucking rule.
I DM'd you on my personal Instagram. I was like, hey, check this out. You're like, I love this stuff. I'm like, perfect. Let's reach out.
Yeah, I'm in. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I really appreciate y'all having me. I love talking music stuff, Kerosene Heights stuff.
Well, you know, down the line, if you've got more to promote, or you just want to shoot shit about other music, we definitely have you back to do that. So we love doing this stuff too.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So yeah, the record's out Friday. Blame It on the Weather, SideOneDummy. Exciting stuff. You get shows coming, you get announcements coming. Stay tuned for all things Kerosene Heights later in the year. And Chance, this was blast, man. I've had a blast talking to you for the last hour about all things Kerosene Heights and music, and I can't wait to do it again.
Yeah, same. Totally down. Thank you so much for having me. This has been awesome.
Thank you. There's the mic drop.
Thank you for listening to Podioslave. We are at Podioslave on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, all of the places that you can find us on social media. Facebook, Podioslave Podcast. YouTube, Podioslave Podcast there. Email us at podioslavepodcast@gmail.com. And hey, if you want to become a supporter, click on the link at the bottom of the episode and give us $1, give us $5. It keeps the lights on, keeps us going. We really appreciate that stuff. Thank you.